Blessings upon blessings to you. This is Apostle Shalonda, and I am here just to give you what's on the heart of God, the heart of love right now in this moment. Everyone has their time of awakening, or what we may call being born again, that moment where they are at the place where they come to themselves and they know that they need something that is more than what they've already had, or something different. And I'm watching and even feeling on a regular basis the strain and the heaviness and the weight of this world, because every group of people in their own way is fighting against the unfolding, the awakening, the maturation into love in its fullness. Being ye perfect as our Father in heaven is perfect, as Christ Yeshua may put it. And we're all fighting each other for growing up, for getting to the place where you can stand within your own true authentic self and say, I know this is who God expressed me to be. And an awakening is just that. What I found, however, is that all of us are getting more and more harsh about how we handle each other when we come into our own, yet we also complain about people staying young too long, immature too long. We show that we want to have more control over the outcome, and it's causing more and more havoc all around us, devastation. I'm in the midst of writing about 3 books at one time, and all of them speaking to the allness of God, to God as love, to love being law. And yet I pause many times because I feel the intimidation rise, the light rise. People shining bright lights on everything and everybody to expose everything and everybody but themselves. Y'all excuse the appearance, if you will, and the tears, puffy eyes. But we're all trying to expose, shine light on everything except the kingdom within, where the inner adversary, the enemy lives, right? And it's also the place where your heaven lives, the kingdom of heaven lives. And we all have access to that Christ place, that love place. But instead, we want to keep other people from exploring it, from acknowledging it, from realizing it, because we're afraid that people may lose control and have no restraint. But here's the reason why love is the ultimate law. Because it leaves room for growth and for honor. Traditions can be honored without them hindering forward motion. We don't know how to let go of the past, yet we continue to quote the scriptures that say, old things have passed away, and behold, all things are become new. We're afraid of the new. We're afraid of the unknown. We feel like we're being pushed out and we're being messed over. And can I be honest with you and tell you that maybe the creations before us felt the same? I'm not going to go into that right now, but everything has been sowing and reaping. Nothing new under the sun, recycling the same experiences over and over again. And it continues until the appointed time. We have got to learn grace for each other, because we're not giving God the glory by glorifying separation. And we can speak about our uniqueness without forgetting about the greater whole. People are going to grow. They're going to explore. They're going to grow up. And it hurts sometimes because we've been taught how to cling to everything for dear life. And of course, that comes from the mentality that our ancestors received when they were being beat down and abused and mistreated. But even to our ancestors and to those who still live, who are fighting for this cause, for us to be known, I say unto you that everything has been a cycle. So at one time, the ones who oppressed us were oppressed. And if we continue trying to oppress someone to get back at them for what they've done to us, we're going to keep this cycle going. And the same thing goes for those who say, my family, my family, my family above everything. Everybody's family's trying to eat. We have no empathy. I know people think it's lame for me to talk about the love walk approach, and they may even think it's lame for me to speak about God as the great allness, the great I am, all things, leaving nothing out, learning how to find God in everything, because there are limited stories by everybody, because all of us want to be right. But when we start pulling it all together, seeing each other for the truth of who we are, then things like the dream of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. can come to pass. The message of Christ Yahshua can be realized. The ministries of Gandhi and the Buddha and anybody who's come along in anybody's culture who has taught them the way, that the way is in your heart, the way is in your consciousness, fully understanding God as all things. I'm going to digress. I feel my tears coming again. There's more anxiety and fear. There's more mental breakdowns. And what's interesting is that there are those of us who are sitting in our rooms, in our churches, in our synagogues, in our mosques, in our different organizations, political things, that are looking at everybody else as the blame. And the reality is that we're all somewhat the blame. That's why blame doesn't work. We've all played a part, but being transformed by the renewing of our minds. Not debating and arguing over whether or not Jesus is God, or whether or not this is the truth, or that's the truth, or this is wrong and that's wrong. When there is a catastrophe in this world, when there are calamities, then everybody can get along just fine. We run to the rescue of others when the whole world seems to be collapsing all around us, but then we go right back to the everyday selfishness of trying to be the favorite, the chosen one. You don't have to build your self-esteem by tearing down someone else's. We are all created equal, literally. God is expressed as all things. So we're all from the exact same source. And you call it whatever you want. Whatever makes sense to you. Romans 14 is clear about that. Be convinced within yourself. That's what faith is. And don't let anyone make you feel guilty about that. Romans 14. But let's be governed by our hearts. Let's be governed by purified. I forgive them for what they did to me because they know not what they do. And I look at the generation that comes right after me and say, yeah, I know you think I know not what I do too. And I'm watching you go through the same motions and do the same things that I did. And instead of judging you, I'm going to give you my wisdom. And then if you don't take it, I love you enough to let you make your way. If we stop holding the reins and the chains so tight on everybody to fit to our narrative and what we want and what we think, then maybe they won't have to be so many uprisings. Maybe we'll finally get it together and understand that, hey, everybody's strength is needed. Every part of the body is needed. Me for you, you for me, we for we. Now let's try this love walk approach, Let's try being the love that we want to experience instead of pointing fingers at everybody who didn't give us the love we thought we were supposed to have. Because I can guarantee you, if you talk to the right people on the right day, somebody's going to tell you how imperfect you are too. And it's okay. Everything is a learning journey. Everything is a remembering and coming back to the fullness of ourselves. Everything is an adventure. Everybody has a name for what we're going through and what we're dealing with and what we're trying to define. I respect you. You respect me. Doesn't mean I have to agree. But it also doesn't mean I have to hate you for choosing to be you while I'm trying to learn how to be me. It's for the collective good when we change our hearts, purify them. Instead of looking out for just one person, one family. How about we all just treat each other with enough respect where there's no need to be protecting ourselves against each other? I have a dream too. Nevertheless, y'all, I love y'all so much just because I can. I pray that this word resonates with you somewhere within your spirit. And if it does, it means that you're at the place where you're expanding, where your mind is changing and shifting because you know that the superficial cannot stand anymore. God, I think I mentioned this when I don't think I know, because I've been prophesying the same word for probably the last 3 years or so, where God says that he is erasing religious lines. And he gave me a revelation as I'm writing one of these books. And he had me look at the word again. He said, I'm erasing the lines. I didn't say I'm getting rid of anything. People believe how they believe because that's what they need to be able to sustain themselves. And none of us can really judge that because all of us are searching for that same thing. The thing that fits, the thing that makes sense. But when we get to the point where we can't see any perspective but our own, and we refuse to, nothing good can come out of that. So while God is erasing the lines, what he's saying is, and I think I remember back in the day, people used to draw a line in the sand and be like, you cross this line and such and such may happen or whatever. But God is erasing all of those lines so we can walk through each other's doors, love and kindness, nobody trying to outlook the other person so we don't even know one from the other. Let the wheat and tare grow together. And I know that sounds scary, but you never know what God's intentions are for it. And we talk about this last day and judgments and all these different things. Can I be honest with you and tell you that most of the time judgment starts right here within yourself when you start really looking within? Seeking ye first the kingdom and its righteousness, or its justice, its fairness, its right standing. Against love there is no law. So while God is erasing the lines, we're going to have to begin to look beyond them, understanding other people, respecting and honoring their traditions. All of us doing that so that the black stuff, the black magic, the dark arts, all these different things that we are trying to stand up against. And it's so interesting because everybody's standing up against another person as the darkness. When you try to harm someone else because they don't fully agree with you, or you feel like it's your cause to eradicate something, or to, that's where that purity of heart, that moral compass comes in and says, psh. Anyway, I don't want to get on my soapbox about that. I told y'all I'm about to go. I just wanted to share this with you. If this resonates with you, you can always feel free to give a resonant seed towards Love Walk Outreach Global so that we can begin to take this message of the Love Walk approach around the globe. I'm doing my best. I'm working on this book, and I believe that it's going to change many things. The entire 3 books I'm working on, 2 of them will probably be released before any touring or something like that happens. But I pray that the message comes across clear. I'm not trying to recreate anything. I just know what my assignment is in this hour, and I want to live it out to the fullest. No regrets. Living by faith. I'm rising new. And I pray that you too realize that you can rise new too. Yeah. There's some links and things in the description if you want to check them out. come on into Treasure's Ark of Love. You know, we're going to prophesy, we're going to pray, we're going to talk, we're going to be silly. But we're going to share with you what comes from the heart of God through this vessel. I pray that all is well with you. Happy holidays.